what moment did you know that Angel's Rest was going to be a thing? Like, take me back. What caused you to create this thing?
When we had our mastiffs, Ophelia and Chaka pass away, my husband and I sought to adopt other mastiffs through Bull Mastiff Rescue, and we came across these two brothers that were from the same litter, and that had lived in a puppy mill their entire lives. They had never walked on grass. Because of that, they were, riddled with sores and horrible things that had happened to their bodies. But Maverick had a heart condition so advanced that we were told he has about 2 weeks left. And then for that reason, they were not going to separate them. We were going to, if we wanted them, we had to adopt both. And we did, of course. But we are really good at critical care. My husband and I are. And with taking him to cardiologists and this and that, he ended up living 21 months.
Oh.
And that's what got us thinking about there has to be a place that will take animals that are considered hospice critical care animals. And there wasn't. So that's how the brainchild started, basically.
Interesting. So in essence, what you guys do is hospice for is it just for dogs or is it for other animals?
Dogs
as
and
well?
cats. And we have a token potbelly pig, but she's healthy.
All right. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Angel's Rest Sanctuary. Let's talk about, like, now that we know, like, kind of, first of all, you just have a heart for animals. I mean, dogs particularly. I mean, cats, it seems like you like cats too. You drug 5 cats all the way from Florida with you all the way to Chicago. So that I find that interesting.
Yeah, we
so
love animals.
So you have a heart for animals. So you're thinking, okay, what happens to these pets when they know that they're, they're going to pass soon? Like, talk to me about the early stages of Angel's Rest, how you got it started, where'd you do it, and how it evolved, and just tell me that story real quick.
We started it on our property. And when we bought our property, there were 2 lots. There was what was called an artist studio, which was basically a shell of a building. And that's where we started housing the animals. Unfortunately, the neighbors objected to that. So eventually shut us down. So then we ended up renting a facility, and subsequently that facility was donated to us. But it did start on our property.
So yeah, like most great organizations, they start in a garage, right?
Right.
So how did you come up with the name?
I wanted to identify everyone by the name Angel, like they're a little angel.
Oh.
And I wanted them to find a place where they can be safe and rest, even if it's for the last few days. So that's how the name came about, and that's why there's an apostrophe, because with the name, I want to identify everyone that enters our doors.
That's so sweet. I went to a charity event about 2 weeks ago. She said the same thing about little kids too. Like, but that's a sweet notion. Like, every life counts, everyone, and even with pets, even with animals, they're precious creatures, and I think that's a very sweet notion. So tell me what you guys do. Like, first of all, how do you find the pets that need this service? Like, what's that mechanism? Like, how do people get to you? But more importantly, how do you find these pets? Like, what's the process normally?
Well, at first it becomes a matter of everybody wants you to take on their problem animal. And because our model is so specific, we cannot take owner surrenders because people change their mind about their pet or because they had an accident. So I purposely started seeking out animals that were first in line for euthanasia because they were old or they were sick or they had a wound or a broken bone or anything or lifelong conditions like the feline AIDS virus in cats.
Interesting.
That morphed into something bigger, which now we also take animals that have bite histories, because in reality those are they're even more in danger than animals that are in need of hospice care,
Interesting.
because they don't even make it to the adoption floor.
So, but where do you find these dogs? Like,
They find us. We don't go looking for dogs anymore.
interesting.
And we get them from all over the country. So we have.
Oh, so this isn't just a local thing.
No, we've established quite the reputation where last couple of animals we've gotten or we received were from Georgia, Mount Vernon, Ohio, and
Key West.
Key West. Yes,
Interesting.
TJ. We've also have a program called a Lifetime Care Program, where people that are really well intended and that have exhausted all the options for their dogs, and it's mostly has to do with bites and bite histories, will actually buy a spot in the sanctuary, so that we can fund other programs like the hospice program with the money we take in. And that from that program, we have taken dogs in from New York City, Key West, Cleveland, pretty much all over the eastern seaboard.
Interesting. All right. So these dogs are hospice dogs. They find you now. They know
Right.
where you are. So, like, what are your roles? What do you see your role as the founder of the organization? And Jimmy, how is it that you help her do what you guys do? And what is it that you do? Like, once you get these dogs physically, what's the next step? I mean, take me through that process.
We have an amazing team. We have a board member who's also the animal care specialist, and she deals with everything animal related. She is amazing. We have record adoptions because of her, as a result of her involvement. But a lot of our animals get adopted, believe it or not.
Interesting. So they come into your place, and then they might even get a home for
Yes.
a short period of time.
And
Oh, okay.
and because medical costs are high for a senior animal, and we understand that fully, we offer what's called a Foster for Life program. So people will basically give a home to an animal, and we will cover all the financial costs associated with that animal.
And when you say financial cost, you're talking about what? Like treatments, vet visits?
Food,
Interesting.
supplies. Most of the people that participate in the program will not accept food or anything small. But if there's major medical that needs to be, we will cover that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So Jimmy, what's your role in the organization? A dog comes in. Like, are you running you're running the gift shop? You have a gift. What would you call it?
We have a thrift store.
A thrift store. Okay.
That's what I was doing. The thrift store, in part, funds some of what we do.
Gotcha.
It gets us into the community.
Yeah.
Is really why it started. I don't do that anymore. I'm doing development. I'm doing outreach, adoption events,
Interesting
stuff like this.
So
scheduling meetings.
I would call it biz dev, right? You basically get the word out. You're the guy that's out there.
Definitely trying.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. So, from your perspective, trying to find places where to get these animals, what are some of the methods that you've been using to try to reach out?
We have all of our adoptables, of course, on Pet Finder. You can link through our webpage. But
Pet Finder is a website?
it is a website for animal adoptions, and it covers the entire country. But you can link directly to our animals through our website and
Gotcha.
see who we have up for adoption at the
Oh,
moment.
okay.
We do adoption events. Stuff like this gets the word out as well. You know, when we do our meetings, we have our Elder Paws program that's getting ready to roll out. I'll let Perla speak more on that. We're teaming up with some to try to place some animals with veterans. Homeless people who need companionship
Oh, good for
once
you.
they're in housing.
Yeah.
We have a lot of stuff going on as far as
Good for you.
Getting out there.
Animals, I don't know if it's true for everybody, but for me, I know they bring my blood pressure down. I
Absolutely.
know how they make me feel. So I can imagine somebody who's homeless or somebody who's sick. I can see that being like almost a win-win, right?
Absolutely.
These two.
Those are medical studies that in fact prove that.
Oh, there are.
Stroking
Interesting.
an animal will lower your blood pressure. With seniors, it gives them a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
It makes them be more social. It makes them want to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what a cat can do for an adult or even a dog. But let me just say that Jimmy has been instrumental in helping me get the word out, because even though we are known in the animal circles as a great hospice facility, the community did not know we exist.
Interesting.
And that's why we met at the Chamber of Commerce
Yeah.
event, because Jimmy and I have been trying to get out there to get the word out, and without his help, I could not do it.
Yeah, good for
because
you.
it's been a pretty tremendous undertaking, and especially for people that aren't really people oriented. That we're animal people. We're
Yeah.
not people people.
Yeah.
So
And it is different.
yeah, and it does
Definitely.
take us out of our comfort zone.
Interesting.
But it's been working really well, and I'm really pleased with barely 2 months of doing this that we're already seeing
Good for
results.
you.
And case in point, we're sitting here
I'm
with you.
so happy you're here.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, and this goes back to what we were talking about before the show. I'm a big believer in storytelling. Like, in essence, your organization, the better you get at telling your story and getting the story distributed, that's when you're going to find people, because people love what you do. Like, first of all, I didn't know it existed. I didn't know there was such a thing. First of all, I didn't know there was such a thing as what'd you call it? Foster care for dogs.
Yes.
Just fostering an animal.
Fostering an animal. Didn't know that existed. Number one. Number two, didn't know there was a hospice for dogs. Like, I had no idea like that was a thing. So, like, telling the story first, getting it into media form, and getting it distributed. To me, that's the magic. That's why I'm thankful that you're here, because I think we can help you do that. Is just take this recording, get it out there. And I think that's how you engage people. And then you're always, obviously welcome bringing you back anytime you've got a big event going on. So let's talk about the dogs for just another moment. I'm trying to get a really sense of the facility. Like, are you a placement organization, or do you have housing? Like, do you actually have like kennels that you actually own on a piece of property somewhere? Help paint that picture for me.
In Amelia, we were at one time renting what used to be a daycare that had closed down. So we have the facility, which has been donated to us. We had a donor who purchased the building and gave us the building. So we're retrofitting everything we do to fit the animals in, but they have kennels, they have outdoor runs. They're out 3 and 4 times a day.
Awesome.
They have hands-on every day. They're not just set in a kennel and fed. They get interacting, and and even with our problem animals, we try to work with them. Like if I'm at the office, I try to go back at least once a day, and most of them can be bribed with food, even the ones who have issues. Yeah. You laugh, but it's true. That's exactly what they,
I only laugh because my dog's.
Yeah,
right, yeah.
You give a dog a biscuit, it's your best friend forever. So there's a lot of the aggressive dogs aren't so.
Yeah.
A lot of it is environment.
Oh,
I have one at my house who had 6 bites, 5 bites under his belt, and ordered out of the county he lived in Illinois, and he's never shown any aggression. He sleeps in my recliner with a cat.
That's awesome.
He follows my son around.
Can I ask you, how do you get a dog from that state? Like I'm assuming this is a violent dog, or just scared. Maybe he's just scared.
Sometimes it's just scared.
How do you get him from that place to a place where he's domesticated? And
for me, it's when I talk to a dog. It's going to sound dumb.
He's like, I talk to a dog.
What? I do.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just funny to me, 'cause I do it all day long.
I don't move as fast. I tend to have something for them to eat. I talk in a higher voice, like you would a baby.
100%.
It puts them at ease.
Yeah.
So, but for me, that's what I do.
I taught my kids from this age. Your body language, all of the communication skills that you have, don't just come through your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything else. like your body tells, like, so you're right, like that, the dogs sense all of those elements, right? And they know whether you're like a good guy or not, right? I think they do.
They do.
And whether it's dogs or cats, ultimately they all want to belong. They want to be part of a pack.
Yeah.
Especially with dogs. If you show that animal respect and love and security and a sense of belonging, they will turn around. It may not be instantaneously, but it will turn around. There is one thing I wanted to add to Jimmy's discussion of the building. Our cats live cage free.
Interesting.
So they live in large rooms.
Good for you.
And they all, we put shelves on the windows and they sun themselves. And we're hoping to raise some funds soon to put catios so they can have indoor-outdoor access.
She said catios.
Yeah. Basically,
It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
An outdoor cage.
Oh, I thought she was going back to her Argentina roots.
No.
She was maybe just throwing like this.
A Spanglish term.
Spanish.
But
Catio.
yeah, but that's ultimately why
Good
the
for you.
animals turn around.
Yeah. Well, it's just like us. We want to be in a good environment.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
want to feel like we're safe
Yeah.
and loved. Yeah.
And in Charlie's case, which is the dog he's referring to, that's all it took. It took taking him out of a vet environment. He was about 30 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
He could hardly move, so I'm sure that made him cranky and uncomfortable.
Of course.
And there were children picking at him all day, and that resulted in 5 bites. And the county said no more. He either leaves the county or he gets euthanized.
So tell me about these dogs when, like, their last days. I mean, what like, do you guys have, like, how do you know when it's time? Like, when it's time to give, like, they're gonna, the fact that they came to you, you already know they're terminal. How do you know when it's time, and, like, do they just let them pass naturally, or how does that all look?
Unfortunately, that doesn't happen as much as we would. We have to intervene, but when we do critical care, and that involves some aromatherapy, lots of medications, supplements, home cooked meals, because we do cook for our dogs, especially the ones that are ailing, and we try whatever we can. And if there's no improvement, then we feel that the bad days outnumber the good days, then we basically have a powwow and decide, well, is it time or is it not time? A lot of times, I would say 90% of the time, I will euthanize them myself, so that they can be done in their bed, where they're comfortable with the people that love them the most, which is normally the handlers and the people that spend the most time with them. Very rarely do we come in and find an animal that has passed in its sleep. I wish we would.
Right, you'd almost rather that be the case, right?
Yeah, but animals have a incredible sense of telling you when it's time. It's telling you when they just don't. It's not fun anymore.
There's no
and they
life
don't,
left.
Yeah, and they don't want to do this anymore. And I've had to euthanize dogs that became my own pets, because I've kept for education purposes, and they basically were my pets.
Right.
And that is horribly hard to do. But that's when you put your feelings aside, because the animal is definitely sending you a clear signal that it's time. Please do this.
And in a really strange way, it's like you're not doing something that you're doing something that that the dog wants.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing it a favor. Like, let me make you comfortable.
Right.
Because they're in pain or whatever. That's got to be tough, though.
And it is. It was very hard. To this day, they know that if I have to euthanize an animal, I'm usually down for the next day.
Oh yeah.
Because
totally get it.
it's horrible. But on the other hand, on Monday, I was alerted that one of the cats wasn't doing well. I took it home. I placed it on my chest, on a recliner, and I was able to free him.
Oh.
And the only thing he heard was my heartbeat. And maybe it meant nothing, but at least it meant something to me that I could do that.
100%.
Yeah. So,
I love the idea that you think every one of those lives has value.
It does.
That-
They
They
do.
And
do.
it does. No,
They do.
they do 100%. But not everybody agrees with that.
Oh no.
But I do. I think every person, I think every being, like my wife, she, like, we'll see a spider. Now, this is how, I'm not an extremist, but I'm like, if there's a spider in the house, I'm not going to kill it.
Mm-hmm.
I will collect it and I will let him set him free. Like that's my mentality, because I feel like there's this karma. I just feel better about doing that than whatever. But specifically with dogs and cats, I mean, there's just a personality with them. There's a connection with them, which would make that very difficult on me. I mean, so I totally appreciate what you do. All right. So the audience has heard your story, your personal stories, and the business story. How do they help? Like, what's the next step? Like if you wanted to, if you only had 5 minutes to tell the world how they could help you, what would those specific things be? And if she misses anything, you can catch up. You can catch her up, or either one of you. Go ahead.
I'd be remiss if I don't mention Elder Pause, which is our new program that we're launching.
Elder Pause.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
urge everybody to go on our Facebook page and look through our Facebook page and learn about this amazing program that not only saves animals' lives, but we're hoping and we're trying to save other human lives by the placement of an animal, because it's already established that animals do amazing things for people, especially lonely people.
Gotcha.
So
So talk to me about Elder Pause. What do they do?
Elder Pause is where we seek homes of. It started as for elderly people that are lonely and homebound, and what we're trying to do is try to match them with an animal, whether it's a dog or a cat, and we would take care of everything. The only thing we require of the elderly person is that they provide a loving home. We will bring supplies once a week. We will clean up litter boxes. We will take the animal to the vet at our expense. Everything is on us. We just want the animals to find homes, because the more animals we place under Elder Paws, the more animals we can save from euthanasia at the local shelters.
Interesting.
Now, Elder Paws is morphing into something a lot bigger, in that we, as of yesterday, we teamed up with a homeless shelter in northern Kentucky, and we will be providing, under the same concept, pets for retired veterans or veterans that have issues with PTSD or other similar issues that preclude them from being able to get a pet of their own.
Yeah.
The other thing we're starting to do with the homeless shelter is we are going to do ride-alongs with the outreach people. So any homeless people that have pets that will not enter a homeless shelter because they have a pet and they're not allowed, we will try to provide them with some food, very light medical intervention, flush out ears, provide flea treatments, supplements, whatever we can handle on our level. It is my hope that someday we will be able to hire a vet to ride along with us and do some minor medical,
Yeah.
even if it's on the street.
Good for you.
So we're trying to be more of a social organization, not just an animal shelter. We're trying to, our tagline or our mission is saving lives, one companion animal at a time. We want to include human lives as well, not just
Amen.
animal lives.
Well, they can help each other, right?
Right.
I mean, that's the beauty of that. You're taking. I love the premise of matching up, like, this lonely person over here and this dog. I mean, that bond. That's and I 100%. I know it because I own dogs and I feel it. I know how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
So no doubt to me that there's some medical benefits to that,
Right.
psychological, emotional benefits to it, I would imagine as well.
So to answer your question, unfortunately, currently our inflow of donations does not cover our expenses.
Gotcha. So you're looking for partners. You're
We're
looking.
looking for
Absolutely.
community partners. We're looking for corporate partners. We're looking for people that want to sponsor a grandma or a grandpa for Christmas.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so we can place that animal and have their costs covered for the year.
Gotcha.
Anything that people can do. in order to help us further our mission would be most appreciated. And unfortunately, even though the thrift store has been a wonderful addition to the Amelia community, Claremont community, it has hurt us in that people now donate goods and they no longer donate cash.
Interesting.
So while our store donations are up, our cash donations are down, and that puts a huge financial strain.
Interesting. So here's the thing, and this is true, I think, of a lot of charities. People don't do because people don't know. So they got to know. So we'll do our best to try to help them know cash is better.
Yeah.
Right. So how do they get a hold of you? And who should they contact if they're interested in giving? If talk to me about that.
They can actually go on our website. They can set up to do monthly donations. They could mail a check monthly or have it automatically taken out. But you can contact us at the sanctuary if you want to bring your donation in.
Gotcha. So
there's several avenues for that.
Give that to me audio wise. Like what's the phone number? What's the website address?
The website is angelsrestanimalsanctuary.org.
.org.
The
Gotcha.
office number is 513-947-2727.
2727.
Yes, sir.
I would
Yes.
like to mention 2 facts about giving. 67% of all donations happen in the month of December. December
Wow.
is critical because people feel, they're more charitable.
They're in that spirit.
Yeah. So it is a good time to have this podcast
Yeah,
because
good
we're
for
in the
you.
month of December. And the other thing that I found most interesting was that the number one reason why people donate is because they are asked.
Oh, that's it. 100%. Like you have not because you ask not. You have to ask. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thank
you
you.
for asking.
Thank you.
And we'll do the best we can to get the word out. But you've both been a wonderful guest. Your stories are both incredible. And thank you for what you're doing. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thanks. Have a great day. Thanks, guys.